Imagine if ChatGPT and
Whoops. There we go. Going live everywhere. Happy days ish. Hope you're having a great day, everybody. My name is Sean Shapiro. This is Ask a Traffic Cop, and we're talking to you about traffic safety, traffic law, police stuff in general. We're here to answer your questions. We're on a whole bunch of places. We are on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and the platform formerly known as Twitter, now called X. If you want to ask questions, by all means, ask questions, because that's sort of how we roll. We're here to answer them. And we do our best to do that for at least an hour. Now, if you're on that platform called X, know that we can't actually hear from you. We'd very much like to hear from you, but it doesn't work. So what you can do is go to our other platforms. Go to YouTube. It works just so nicely. If you go to TrafficCop.ca, you can link over and jump into the chat. And in the chat, we've got Stephen Bell first in the show. It says, "Good morning, Officer Shapiro." Tim Shallow, it says, "Good morning, Sean." Stephen, you can call me Sean. You know, the office, it's so formal. You don't have to do that. We have Michael H. with a simple wave. Hope everybody had a great weekend. It is, the weather has been so back and forth, on and off, like a light switch, warm, cold, warm, cold. I don't know how to dress anymore. But I have stopped wearing shorts. Short season, done. I think it's done. And I'd like to know where you are on this, because I like shorts. I prefer shorts. I want to be comfy. Just saying. Okay. Vision Zero Enforcement Team, where are they today? And first off, what are they? They are a group of dedicated officers, dedicated, or at least working very hard to change driver behavior one ticket at a time. They do that for the drivers who are choosing to speed, drive aggressively, drive distracted, drive impaired. Those are driver behaviors that we know lead to serious injury and death on our roads. So they're the ones that we focus on. Yeah. They don't ignore the other ones, but they do try to focus on those big ones. And there's no lack of people who are choosing to break those laws. So where are they today? 11 Division and 53 Division, the Junction, Weston, High Park, Ronsonvales, or Roncy, Lawrence Park, Yonge and Eglinton, Rosedale, Leaside. Those are neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play and deserve to be safe. And if that was where you lived, you'd want us there too. And that's why we announce every day where we're going to be, because we want the folks who live in those neighborhoods to know that we're there for them, working to make their places of whether they work or play or live there, that they are, safer. Okay. A little later on, we'll talk about employment. We'll talk about TrafficCop.ca, which is my link tree, so you can find information you need, like, how to sign up for automatic reminders to let you know when your health card, your license plate, and your driver's license are, expiring. Yeah, the government offers these wonderful free reminders, but if you don't have that sticker on your car to remind you anymore, you have to be proactive, like going to sign up for a mailing list. All right, and of course, questions asked of you are what we'll be answering most of. Let's start with Omar. Question. He's coming in from Jamaica. Well, first of all, hello. And it's been a while since I've been to Jamaica. So thank you for bringing some Jamaica to our show. Now, what are the requirements do I need when I drive in Toronto as a visitor from Jamaica? So assuming that your license is valid here, and I would assume that it would be. Now, if you go to TrafficCop.ca, you can go to our website and or the useful links at the bottom of the page. You can see a little more. Let me pull it up for you. It's a great way to start the show. We'll just go to here. And by the way, I didn't cough at all until the show was about to start. And now I have a holes and now I'm not coughing. Okay, so this is the page at TrafficCop.ca. If you scroll down, you go to the useful links, and there's this Canadian flag. There we go. New residents and visitors. Oh, it's not even showing on the screen. Of course it's not showing on the screen. Why would it show on the screen? Because it opened up a second window, which didn't Here we go. Driving in Canada. Driving in Canada. Try that again. Scrolling down to the Ontario. Hopefully this actually works. There we go. Create a new one. Visitors. This is all the information you need to know. What you need to drive here. Okay. If you're visiting Ontario for less than 3 months, you want to drive while you're here, you can use your valid license from your own province, state, or country. At least 16 years old, have proper insurance coverage for the vehicle you want to drive, carry an original or exact copy of the vehicle ownership permit, obey the laws, drive safely, and avoid collisions. We're going to assume that you're in that section here. Now, Jamaica, you don't need to get, I do not believe you need an international driving permit because your driver's license is in English. And that's really what international driving permits are. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But check it out. Go to that website. Do some reading. If you have further questions, let us know. And, okay, we got the Omar. Here we go. Stephen Bell likes the background. So you actually see multiple backgrounds here. We're doing some experimenting with stuff, and I haven't put it away. We were pulling it all out from the storage unit to see what we had, and that's what we had. And that's not going to be the permanent. That's just there today. All right. But I'm glad you like it. Shorts. So Michael did shorts yesterday, still wearing sandals because 10 is fine. I've moved to sandals that cover the toe, a little bit warmer. Ian says, good morning. Zombie says, happy Monday. Let's see here. Sean Chen says, hi, he. And likes the background change. Chase is in support. Look at this. That's all embroidery. It's really nice, actually, that banner. Chase likes the background. Let's see here. Question from D. How do you get updates on collisions? What kind of update are you looking for? Do you mean like you want to find out about collisions that are happening in the city of Toronto because you want to be up on the news, or you were involved in a collision and you want to find out what happened? If you were involved in a collision, you get what is called what is it called? It's called an involved persons copy or an information sheet, which basically has the GO number, the general occurrence number, and all the involved parties listed on it. But to get an actual report, you actually have to order that and pay for it. Now, your insurance company knows this, and they will do it for you. Talk to them. They pay for that. Some of them try to download on you and make you pay for it. It's not cheap. Depending on the police service you go to, it could be anywhere from $75 to a few $100s. So you should definitely let the insurance company pay for that. But just finding out what the outcome was, like who was charged, you can always call the investigating officer. Their information is on there. And for Toronto police officers, the badge number at tps.ca will get to the officer. So if you are trying to send them an email and you see that their number is 12345 at tps.ca, it'll get to the person that you're trying to get to. Okay. What is it? Oh, how old does my kid have to be to sit in the front seat? From Big Joshy. So Big Joshy, here's the deal. There is no legal age to sit in the front or back seat. It is suggested, and by all involved, all the professionals, all the healthcare people, all the folks who understand how collisions work, they say back seat is best until the age of 14. At 14, front seat's fine. That is nothing to do with child seat requirements. Let's break it down. You need to be in a child safety seat until you are at least 8 years old, 80 pounds, or 4'9", and that could include a booster seat. But at 8 years old, 80 pounds, or 4'9", you're legally allowed to sit in a seat without a booster or otherwise. That doesn't mean it's the safest option. If you are a small 8-year-old, it could be better for you to be in a booster seat. In fact, I would say it would be. If you are an 80-pound 4-year-old, it may be unlikely, but it could happen. That does not mean it's suddenly safe for you to be outside of a car seat, even though legally you'd be allowed to. Catch my, are you picking up what I'm putting down? Also, if they are in the front seat, because even in a booster seat, child could be in the front, not safe, but could be. Let's say you have a 2-seater. You don't have any options. So what do? the front seat should be adjusted to be as far back as possible to be as far away from the airbag. That is really the issue. Airbags and crumple zones, those are the things we're trying to protect our smaller folks from. That is that. If that answers your question, fantastic. If you have more questions, please feel free to ask. What is this? Oh my. Here's a question from Chase who says, Tobits on TikTok did pranks where they changed speed signs to way higher, sometimes 100 to 130, and it looks like it was in Milton. Would the driver still get stumped if they saw a sign, a 110 sign and a 70 for... It wouldn't be enforceable. Well, that's a good question. We would check the street signs before we would set up enforcement. We obviously know what the speed signs are. That could be a defense. It would be up to the courts. So yeah, we would probably still go and lay the stunt because it's not reasonable for anyone to assume that that 110 is legitimate. Yeah, someone may have a defense there. But the person who changed it is looking at criminal mischief. And I would seek to find them and charge them for that. What's the address? What's the email? What's the TikTok account? I'd love to see these videos and make sure they get to the appropriate authorities. All right. Stephen Bell. We're back to summer clothes comments. Summer clothes and footwear are put away until next summer. You see, I think that's where it's going. I think that's just where Smart Money says it could snow like tomorrow. In fact, Northern Ontario has seen snow already. Ryan Greer. Is it illegal to hold your phone /GPS in one hand if the destination is already set? GPS, not illegal to hold. A designed from ground up sole function GPS, old school GPS, that GPS that isn't a phone, you are legally permitted to hold it. Unless, of course, it's negatively impacting your ability to safely operate your vehicle, at which point it could be careless driving, but that's a different story. You could hold it technically. Your phone in GPS mode, however, you cannot hold, period. That's use, and simply holding it, even if the screen was off, constitutes the offense of distracted driving under the Highway Traffic Act. Even if the battery was dead, technically, you're holding it, it's use, it's a phone, you can't have it. So, yeah, I'm sure that will upset somebody when I said it that way, but whatever. That's the truth. We've seen convictions for it. Having it on your lap constitutes use, regardless of whether or not you are touching it, using it beyond that of it being on your lap. Yeah, it got to your lap somehow, and it's probably going to be picked up, and in the end, it starts to slide when you're braking. You're probably going to grab it. It's being held up in court. So, yeah, you can have your phone mounted. You can have it in GPS mode so it's visible, but you cannot enter destinations, and that would be illegal. But that's it. If you need more, let me know. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff every single day. If you don't already follow us, please do. If you're on Twitter, come over to the other platforms so you can actually talk to us. TrafficCop.ca will allow you to jump in. If you are on TikTok, do me a favor. Please tap that screen. My friend used to say, boop the snoop. I don't really, whatever. That's what she said. Tap that screen until your fingers go numb, because it tells the algorithm that you like us, and it helps bring more people to the party. But ultimately, your referral of sharing our live with other people is the highest honor, and we appreciate it. Now I got a cough. I haven't coughed for like 2 days. Now I'm coughing. Maybe it's this room. Maybe I'm allergic to work. I don't know. All right. Moving on. What is this? Oh, anonymous. Yeah, I keep seeing anonymous, but it's anonymise. Anonymize? Anyway, PC Pappy put out a tweet saying 5% chance of death if hit at 30 kilometers an hour. But why do we need to be hit? Why can't everyone just pay attention and the speeds are raised? You know what? Okay, let's unpack this. We reduce speed limits because at lower speeds, we increase the chance of survival for pedestrians. And while I 100% agree that we shouldn't be hitting anybody, the lower the speed, the less chance of fatality and serious injury. That's all. We'd love for everyone to be switched on all the time, but we know that not everyone is. And not every pedestrian is, and not every driver is, because people are people, and sometimes they're not paying attention. It's a problem. Ultimately, I'd like to see everybody get home safe and sound every day. But if it doesn't go the way we plan it, and tragedy strikes and a pedestrian is struck, I'd much rather they get struck at 30 than at 60, because at 60 the chances of them surviving are much, much lower. That's it. Oh, Ian's brother was killed in 2020. An F-150 pickup truck that hit him at far less than 30 kilometers an hour, and he's 100% deceased. Yes, there is no guarantee that reducing speed will eliminate the chance. It just reduces the chance. And tragedy strikes at all speeds. I've heard of people falling down while standing stationary. They're standing in a, what just happened here? Oh, we're having interesting things happen on our internet connection here for the, let me see if I switch to data. Okay, trying this, our Instagram became unstable. Maybe it's back now. We're gone to 5G, folks. All right. So the story is that they were standing in a driveway on a bicycle, straddling a bicycle. They lost their balance. They fell over. They died. They hit their head. Tragedy strikes. We want people to be as safe as possible, and we want to reduce the chances. We're never going to eliminate it all. But I'm very sorry to hear about your brother, Ian. J. Courtney Peters. Question is, are right-hand Japanese cars allowed? If so, why do they get pulled over a lot? That's a difficult question. Okay. Yes, they're allowed. If they're over 15 years old, they can be imported. If they don't have signals, functional signals, then they have to have a placard on the back that says right-hand drive. A lot of the vehicles being imported are like the Skylines. They tend to be souped up. They tend to have people who may or may not be operating lawfully. They may have modified exhaust systems. They may have other things going for them, lowered suspensions and whatnot. That might be the reason they're being pulled over, less so the fact that they're right-hand drive. Just saying. For the areas where the limit was raised to 110, do you think everybody who previously ticketed for that speed should get it revoked? No. The laws of today are the laws that you're either breaking or following. The laws of yesterday, you were still guilty of breaking. So you shouldn't get, it's like, no. You chose to break the law the day you broke it. If the law changes tomorrow, you still broke the law yesterday. I don't know why. Well, anyway, I don't want to get too deep into it, but a lot of people were, I think, made the same application when it came to cannabis. It's not legal now, but they were charged when it was illegal. Well, they still chose to break the law when it was illegal. So I don't know. Not my area of expertise, but I personally don't think that they should get any breaks. Okay. Question from Michael L. Follow-up question. No, why isn't the 407 limit higher? They have the widest lane, the fastest collision removal of all 400 series. Do you think most people would be in favor of being? I think people would be in favor of anything that makes them go faster and has less accountability. But no, they shouldn't be raised because it's determined that speed kills and faster is not better. You also have to acknowledge the fact that our drivers aren't any better. You go to Europe and you talk about Germany and the Autobahn. They have higher standards for drivers. They also have higher standards or enforcement, both electronic and by way of police. We don't have the same drivers here. We have bad drivers here. We have people that do not do very well, and the standards for getting your license are much lower here. So anyway, speed bad. Slow down. I want people to slow down on all the roads. I'm not looking for reasons for people to go faster. Kayla is late, but still here. Greetings and salutations, my friend. I know that you said that to me, but I'm saying it back to you. And yeah. What gives the school buses the ability to have a 360-degree flashing white strobe? Good question. I don't know. The big question is that can you have light to the rear? Maybe because of the height. I don't know. I honestly don't. I don't know why they have them. Is it for aerial, like for helicopters to be able to see them? Is that what? I don't know. Michael has a counter argument. This is, I guess, in relation to speed. Let me put a counter argument to what Anonymous said. If people paid attention and the limits were raised as a result, isn't it safer because cars would get to their destination faster, less cars on the road? I don't think so. I think, yes, if people paid attention, sure, but there's other factors. You have to, that's like saying everyone tomorrow will stop doing silly things, but they won't. Maybe 3 out of 5 or people will, but it's just, yeah. Sadly, making statements like that won't correct the problems we have on the road. But I wish we did. If everyone was suddenly a magically good driver who didn't break any of the traffic laws, then we probably could get away with going a little faster. But we're not living in that world. All right. I'm trying to make out the username. I'm not going to try and pronounce that. In a highway of 100 kilometers an hour, what is the maximum speed we don't get pulled over? 100 kilometers an hour. The speed limit is 100. Thus, if you don't go over 100, you won't get pulled over. If you want me to give you the number that you could break the law and exceed the speed limit at, I can't give you one, because where I would pull you over at one speed, another police officer will give you another speed, because everyone is able to make their own decisions as to where their enforcement threshold is. I personally think 1 kilometer and over is a great place to pull someone over for a conversation. Not realistic, but I think it's a great place. The problem is when we set a number, whether it be 1, 5, 10, 15, everyone just thinks that's the new speed limit, and we'll do that speed until they get caught. So we should catch more people and remind people to go slower. That's my personal opinion. Many people have many feelings and beliefs about this. And the legal limit is 100. You should not be going any faster, regardless if you are driving to work, driving to school, passing somebody. That's it. Leave earlier, go slower. Can a school bus stop to pick up passengers? Can a school bus stop to pick up passengers but only activate their amber lights, or must they always deploy their reds and stop arm? Or is this only a Brampton thing? So interesting. I've heard various things. Now, my understanding was that they should always use their stop arms and flashing lights for the safety of children. It makes sense, right? But I very often see them doing exactly what you've described, where amber lights only. And then I was told that, and was reminded, I should say, not told, that within a certain distance of an intersection, they're not allowed to use the red lights. My question is, why are they then dropping off students there? I don't know if they can be ticketed for it. I've never laid a charge in relation to a school bus and the use of their red lights, because I've never seen it being misused. But I would like to see personally, the best choices made for the protection of their child, student, people, passengers. Yes. All right. Scrolling. It's nice and quiet in here today. I said that, now people will make noise. All right. Can we wear headphones and drive? In some provinces, it's illegal. In the province of Ontario, where we are, it's not illegal. Thus, you can wear headphones and drive. Now, people say, well, you can't hear sirens. You can't hear honking. True, but you could also be deaf and still legally permitted to drive. Deaf people, or members of the deaf community, can drive very well. So why should they not be allowed to wear headphones if you have the ability to hear? There, you can. Now, some provinces say 1 ear is okay, but 2 ears are not. Others may have different rules. So know what the rules are before you go. But for the province of Ontario, you can, in fact, wear headphones. Now, I will say that I do not endorse or suggest it, because you do prevent ambient noise from coming through. And I kind of like hearing screeching tires. Well, no, I don't, but I want to hear them if they are there as an early warning sign. I want to hear police sirens so I can get out of the way, and ambulance and fire. I want to get out of the way, but I'm also paying attention, using those eyes you got there. Check your mirrors, be aware of what's going on, because you need to be aware, and you can't rely entirely on audio. Doppler effect, sirens on the highway generally aren't heard until you're about 1 car length behind the person at speed. Obviously, at slow speeds, you hear great, but you can't rely entirely on sound, so that's one of the reasons I imagine why it's not a big deal, at least legally. Okay. Michael, who is an authority as a truck driver and bus license driver, school buses must use signal lights except 60 meters of functioning traffic signal control ahead or behind, not in school bus loading zones. Right. What he said. Anzel Tano. Can someone be accepted to policing even if they do not have volunteer hours? Possibly, maybe, I don't know. I'm not a recruiter. I will tell you that volunteerism is a huge component when people are looking to see what kind of person you are. Are you connected to the community you want to protect and serve? Do something. You can change that tomorrow. Go get volunteer hours. Don't do it just to pass a test. Be a person who wants to contribute, but you can actually change that tomorrow. And I don't think you have to volunteer your life away. I think you just need to make a commitment to something and stick with it. Let's see here. If an officer decides to arrest you for stunt driving, are you taken to the station, are you released, or are you in jail? What's up? I think it really depends on, we generally don't take people into custody unless there's a reason to. So if you're arrested for stunt driving or you're simply issued a ticket, the arrest would likely release you on the ticket. Yeah. Are you taken to a station? Probably not. I've never taken someone to a police station as a result of a stunt charge, but I would if there was a warrant, if there were complicating matters, if there was a reason to. I've taken people into custody for, what was I thinking here? Overstay. They were illegally in the country. So they had an expired license plate. They ended up coming into custody because of their status in the country. Okay. Stephen Bell doesn't like it when pedestrians walk right in front of them with a crosswalk a block away and you need to stop. So, Stephen, okay, they walk right in front of you with a crosswalk a block away. And, well, here's the deal. You don't have to use a crosswalk. If you're more than 50 meters away, legally, you don't have to. And legally being, I think it's a bylaw. Is it HTA or bylaw? I confuse myself right now. But at the end of the day, you're allowed to cross without a crosswalk, but there is inherent risk there. And yeah, you're not allowed to hit anyone intentionally, but if someone steps out in front of your car and you have no ability to avoid them, are you responsible for it or is it the pedestrian? That ultimately it comes into the investigation, but sometimes you can't avoid it. And it is obviously difficult when people are jumping out of all sorts of different places. But cars also need to pay attention and they have an obligation to avoid collision. Saad Mohammed says, I love this channel. Thank you very much. Love the endorsement. I'm glad you find value and enjoy it. I appreciate the feedback. Always do. Tyler Dunlop, what are your thoughts on the 110 speed limit on the QEW Niagara? And I don't really have an opinion on it. If the law says you can do it, you can do it. They've determined that the speed in that area is lawful and safe. And we have areas on the 404 and other highways that have stretches that they've said are permitted. And if they say it's permitted, it's permitted. I'm not the maker of laws. I'm the enforcer of laws. My problem is when people choose to break the laws. Okay, Saad says, what do we have here? He says, I can't stop getting parking tickets for just leaving car outside for 2 minutes. This is getting out of hand. Where are you leaving the car? Are you illegally parking? Well, then that makes sense why you're getting parking tickets. Are you doing delivery stuff? You can park in certain areas with an out on delivery sign, a on delivery sign in the window, but you can't do it on main routes. So, for instance, side roads. If you're on Yonge Street, you're going to get a ticket anyway. But if you pull onto the side street to go around, you can be on delivery, and I think it's for 10 minutes. But that's an Aaron question, and Aaron's not in right now. Aaron Urquhart is our parking enforcement officer, who is our media relations parking enforcement officer. So I'd love for you to get the best information right from the source, and she'd be the one to follow on social. Or you can simply go to Parking TPS. I wish it was TPS parking, but it's not. It's Parking TPS, which always makes me, question my sanity when I say it. If you are watching and you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff every single day. So you should follow us because we talk about stuff that helps you whether you walk, ride, or drive. It's all relevant, and it's all about safety and helping you avoid getting charged for stuff you didn't know was illegal, and then you find out when you get the ticket. If I can prevent you from getting a ticket and keep you safe, then I'm doing my job, and it makes me real happy, and that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you. So let's talk about this question from Selena. How do you get a vulnerable sector check? So there are two different types of sector checks, and I honestly don't know much about the difference. One of them, I think, is just a criminal history, and one of them is going to be for vulnerable sector. If you are, you can go to the Toronto Police website. If you're in Toronto, if you live in Toronto, if you are living in applying for something outside of Toronto, you may need to go to the local police. However, York Region, Toronto, all the police services do this. For Toronto, let's see. Let's just go right to the source. Let's go to the website, tps.ca, and I'll put it on screen in a second. It's been a while since I've looked at this, and it's changed because we have a new website. Here we go. Boom. Services, vulnerable sector check. Look at that right there. So criminal record check, and then criminal record and judicial matters check, and vulnerable sector check. So I think the one for vulnerable sector check in particular requires you to have a letter from the organization, like a school, that you're going to be using this for. Like you want to go to your kids something, or you want to work with children. Okay. A level 3 check intended for individuals seeking employment or volunteer opportunities with vulnerable persons, like, kids and stuff and things, because of their age, disability, or circumstance, whether temporary or permanent, in a position of dependence on others, otherwise at a great risk, blah, blah, blah. It's all here. For teachers, elder care, daycare, coaches, nurses. All right, so who can apply? How to apply? There we go. 2 pieces of ID issued. Let's see. 1 must include your photograph and signature. 1 must include your full name, date of birth. They list a bunch of stuff here. You can apply online or in person or by mail. And there's a form you can download. Wow, how much does it cost? Now I want to know. Depending on the type it is, there you go. From $26 to $71, or $26.72 to $71.72. And no or rush or expedited services available. Good to know. I hope this helps. I learned something. I have not been to this site in ages, so you've helped me learn something. Who's looking here on Instagram? There's one person on Instagram. I question why we're on Instagram, but I'm glad we're there for you, whoever you are. Please say hello so I know who you are. Since there's one of you. Oh, they left. I scared them. Instead, we go to live on Instagram because we want to be everywhere for everyone. Oh, they're back, or somebody's back. Hello, Instagram. Okay. Okay. Elite U.S. Forest Service. What is this? How long of a delay in court would cause traffic ticket to be thrown out? So prior to COVID, I would have said a year is when you can apply for an 11B application, which is suggesting that it was unfair, unjust for you to wait so long. You didn't get your fair trial in an appropriate amount of time. During COVID, I think they extended it to 2 years, and I don't know if it's gone down or if it's at 18 months now. I've heard various things. In any case, it doesn't just automatically get thrown out. You have to make an application to have it thrown out based on what you're citing. What is this? Oh. I live in a small town, says Evan McKinty. I live in a small town. Am I allowed to ride my ATV on the road with insurance and riding respectively? It really depends on the small town and what their rules are and what their bylaws are. Some places allow it, some places don't, but you need to know before you go. So I can't answer for your small town. You'd need to talk to your local police about that. And then let me know, because I want to know. What small town? Where? There are rules regardless, because the HT allows it where they allow it, and it has to be, streets with a speed limit under 50 kilometers an hour, if I'm not mistaken, and then you have maximum speed. You know what? I'm not going to speak out of turn, because that's a Sergeant Campbell area, because he knows about that stuff more than I do. We don't allow it anywhere in the city of Toronto, so that's really where it is. Ryan wants to know, are solid blue fog lights legal? Don't see anything in bylaws, regs for blue solid lights, just flash red. So the deal is that you can only project white and yellow to the front, so blue would be illegal. Cannot have them. If they were affixed to the vehicle but not operational, would be one thing, but if they are fog lights and you use them on the road, you have broken the law. You can only project yellow or white. Now, what you might want to look for when you look at headlights is if it projects at a light of we call it intensity of light that is 300 candela in power, which is a headlight. If it's projecting at 300 candela, it falls into that category. $300 Candela or more. Jin wants to know, when should you turn on your headlights? Should I rely on my car's automatic system? Generally speaking, you want to go half an hour before sunup, half an hour. You want to have them on from a half an hour after sunrise and a half an hour before sunset. That's what it is. I get them. When I start talking about that stuff, it always flips, because motorcycle license M1 is you can ride from a half an hour before sunup. But anyway, a rabbit hole there. Yes. So if you got it, you get it, got it. Good. I use my automatic system. It's pretty awesome. It's a photoelectric sensor, so it knows when it's dark and it just makes it light. Turns on the lights. Make sure that system's on and functioning though. What is this? Okay. Question from Dr. Nick. If I drove out to a bar in a secluded area and I can't get an Uber or find any ways of travel besides driving home, would it be unreasonable for me to call local police and ask for a ride instead? There are always options, but I don't know how the police would in that local area would receive that. I would probably assume that they would appreciate that rather than having you get into a car and causing an issue. At very least, they might be able to assist you with organizing transportation, even if that wasn't them. But that's an interesting question, Dr. Nick. I appreciate the perspective. I just can't put myself into their shoes, having not ever been a local police officer from a secluded area. I just don't know. Uncle Wrench. Can you have solid red LED lights on your car turned on while driving on the public road? Do you mean solid red LED lights in your car, internally lighting your interior of the vehicle? Because many vehicles now have red interior lights because it is less impactful on your night vision. You know, pilots have been doing this forever. Military use it all the time. And now many commercial motor vehicles, commercially available to consumers, have that. Roxanne Murphy wants to know, can I put red underglow lights on my vehicle? Underglow in general is a contentious subject. And that is, underglow is not legal or illegal, but based on how that's installed and based on the perception of the officer involved, you might find yourself getting ticketed. I mentioned earlier about headlights projecting light to the front that is anything other than yellow or white. Well, if you have red light underneath and the bulbs are visible, you're projecting it forward. And those are usually high-intensity bulbs to drive light to the ground to have the ground effect. So you could be charged for improper headlights. You could be charged for, if it's solid is one thing, but if it's flashing, intermittent flashes of red could get you charged. And some of these units flash to the music. What else? Then you've got to the rear. Red to the rear would be okay, but to the sides, my suggestion is that you should not use these lighting systems on the road. You could find yourself being charged, and then you'd have to have the argument with court. And it's really not worth your time. It's just not worth the aggravation of putting it on. And frankly, it's really not that cool anymore. I mean, in the 80s and 90s, it was pretty cool. I even had similar stuff on my motorcycle. I used to have, a tank effect where it made the engine compartment blue. And I thought it looked awesome until I ripped out the wiring because I was tired of seeing it. And I didn't think it looked cool anymore. Just saying. When is a vehicle unsafe to drive, considered unsafe to drive? Well, if it doesn't meet the safety standards, that's going to change. There's so many standards. Like if it has giant holes in the floor, if it doesn't have an airbag, if the suspension is so low that it's making contact with something. There's so many different ways to become unsafe. I'd need to know more in order to give you that thing. And ultimately, it's going to be the determination of the person inspecting it. Sarah Cab, you turn on red light. Is it okay? No, you cannot make a U-turn on a red light because that's a red light and it says you can't enter the intersection on a red light. So if you don't come to a stop, it is fail to stop red light. If you proceed after stopping, it is proceed before green. Either way, it's against the law. Red lights are for stopping and waiting until they're green. Period. Alex, if you ever got too many speed camera tickets or red light tickets, you will ever, what is this? Oh, Is there ever a threshold of so many red light camera or speed automated speed tickets that would it ever affect your license? Actually, no, because the section of the Highway Traffic Act that is used in those tickets does not apply to the driver. It applies to the vehicle. Now, it's possible they could suspend your plate, right? But it won't change your driver's license status. I'm sure they could suspend your plate. Again, it's not something that we do as police. It is run by the city, but there is a way to suspend a plate, and maybe that's what they need to do. Gurwinder Singh wants to know, how can a person find out if there's any street camera ticket issued on a car, no mail found? I'm sure you could contact the City of Toronto to find out, or Ministry of Transportation via Service Ontario. They would be able to tell you if there's anything there. Service Ontario is probably the best way to go. The fact that you don't know or you haven't found any mail is unlikely that you've had one issued. Big Jeff Fresh says, good day. Good day to you, sir. Tetley the kitty cat. Can you drive with a cracked windshield? Can you get a ticket? You can. Having a driver's view obscured is a problem, and you could find yourself getting a ticket. If you're on your way to get your glass repaired, it's unlikely that you're going to have a problem. Even if you get pulled over, you could probably end up with a warning up to the officer who's investigating you. But, a crack versus a crack, the cracks are different. Depends on where the crack is. A small chip, which could become a large crack, could certainly escalate. A small chip is unlikely, but when it's a crack, it could absolutely result in that. And we're just talking about, it's not a good look. Stephen Bell, I don't understand why people think you guys are above the law when you guys are just doing your job by putting bad people in custody. I don't know why people have an issue with the police. I think a lot of people don't like being told what to do, and that's pretty much what we do. We do a lot of finger wagging and ticket writing and basically bossing people around. No, we're telling people what the laws are. In fact, we only tell the people who are breaking the law what the laws are, because the people who don't break the law, oddly enough, don't generally hear from us. What's the best way to alert someone driving that their headlights aren't on? The Pittsburgh man. It's a very good question. I've employed my headlamps. I've employed the horn on my car. I've pulled up beside them at a stoplight and waved, and they've ignored me. I've tried it all. You do your best. If you manage to get next to them, honking and flashing in some combination seems to generally work. But for the person who says, well, it's unnecessary noise, because some people think that, honking and flashing for that purpose is somewhat reasonable. I imagine you wouldn't be finding any issues there. But yeah, sometimes it's very difficult. And a quick story is, I pulled out of a parking lot. Where was I? York Mills and Victoria Park. There's a McDonald's there. I pulled out and I was really annoyed with the driver who had their headlights off. I mean, I'm like honking and flashing. And then I realized that mine were off too. It's a good thing to check your own stuff before you start barking at other people. I had taken my vehicle in for maintenance, and the mechanic turned off my automatic lights. So the first time I was on the road since the lights, the sun went down, and I was shocked to find out that I was an idiot. All right. Do speed cameras in schools / main roads only active during certain times? No, they're always active, at least in our jurisdiction. I don't know for other places, but we want people to follow the law all the time. There's no free time where we don't enforce things. Big Bacon. Let's see this. Will outfitting a vehicle with high rail equipment affect the GVWR? I don't know what high rail equipment is, and that's probably important to know before I try and answer your question. So let's see here. High rail equipment. High rail leasing, I don't know what this is. Custom brand, I don't know what that is. High rail equipment. You need to tell me. This is showing me cranes. So, yeah. But you're saying gross vehicle weight. If you're adding equipment to the vehicle, it is now going to be heavier, and yeah, it affects your. Yeah, you have to be. We call it rated for the vehicle weight. it should be on your ownership. So if that, without knowing what high rail is, I'm going to assume that you need to update that if it in fact changes the weight of your vehicle, which if it's actually made out of metal, may very well do that. Molin Cats. If you get assaulted through the driver window at a red light by another person that comes out of their vehicle from behind, what can I do? Well, hopefully you've got dash camera for one, but you call police. That's an assault. If you get assaulted, regardless of how you get assaulted, if you were assaulted, call police. And when I mentioned dash cams, is you want to have their vehicle and whatever you can captured. Now, I have audio and video recording all the time on my dash cam. So if that were to have happened to me, I would be verbalizing. I would be calling out a description so the camera could catch it. Even if I don't catch them on the camera, I have what I said. So I'd be calling out that I saw a white, Pinto, what kind of car that nobody has, with an ABC 123 license plate, and the driver who hit me was, and I described them. So I'd have a record of it, because as soon as that's over, or maybe while it's happening, you're not going to be able to remember it, or you might be cloudy. Memories are, especially in stressful situations, are funny or not funny. But yeah, definitely call police. Can you get a ticket for changing 3 lanes very quickly? Yeah, that sounds like careless driving to me. Each lane change is a separate thing. You can't make one sweeping change across 3 lanes. That's unsafe. Unsafe move, unsafe lane change, or careless driving at very least. Could it be more serious than that? Yeah. Let's see here. Mr. Nebez, is accelerating hard to the speed limit illegal? It can be. Depends on the observations of the officer. Listen, it could be careless driving. It could be stunt driving. It could be criminal dangerous driving. So, yeah, depends. Depends if you're putting other people at risk. Depends if it looks like racing or stunt with yourself or other people. I say yourself because when you're racing the clock, what are you doing it for? We all have a part to play when we're out on the road. I often liken it to a production on a stage, and everyone is expecting everyone has a role, and everyone's expecting you to do the right thing within the confines of that stage. Otherwise, people run into each other and you have collisions. So, yeah, if you're doing stuff that's out of the norm, it's very easy to describe or interpret that as dangerous. Free Fitty. Do cops have quotas for tickets, or do cops randomly decide if they are checking for speeding? There are no quotas. Randomly decide, yeah, like they have some downtime, they're going to go do some enforcement. If they are that way minded, then yes. And I say some officers will probably never do speed enforcement. They may not even be qualified to operate the equipment for speed enforcement. Not everybody is a traffic officer. They just wish they could be. I kid. Some people aren't interested in that. Some people are so back to back with calls for domestic violence, and they're not traffic officers. They may never have written a traffic ticket. We all do our work differently. We all provide and protect our communities differently. Now, I happen to work for Traffic Services. That is a traffic-specific unit. All of our members are qualified for the use of laser and or radar equipment. At least I would assume so. And I would imagine that most of us are able to either find people who are breaking the law without ever getting into speeding situations. Like, there are so many offenses out there that I never need to use a laser speed measurement device, and I could fill my days all day long. So some people have a more of an issue with speed, and they choose to focus on speeding. So, yeah, no quotas, and cops focus on things that maybe are important to the community in the neighborhoods they're in, or maybe are personal things that they prefer to. I have a friend who is an animal when it comes to distracted driving. That's what he does. He loves it. He wants to catch everyone who breaks that particular law, but he doesn't do speed enforcement. Just doesn't have any time. He's too busy talking to people who are talking on their phones. So I hope that answers your question. There's nothing. There's no standard. There's no absolutes. When does customizing your car become impersonation? For example, if you had a black Ford Explorer, would mounting an amber light bar and painting your door white break any laws? I don't think that it would. I think making your vehicle look anything like a police vehicle is not a good move in today's climate. Not everybody likes the police. And if you could be mistaken for police, that could be bad for you. It could be really bad for you. And I mean that in a way that some people could be aggressive, if not absolutely try and hurt you. But when is it impersonation? When you are putting yourself out as a police officer. If you are impersonating a police officer, if you're trying to make people believe that, and it's believed that you are trying to make them believe that, then that's where things change. You look at, what is it? Why is my nose itchy? There is a painting company. There's ticket companies. They very often take retired police cars or paint them or sticker them up, and they say not cops. It's not illegal. High rails is for a truck to drive on highway or a railway for rail construction people. Oh, that's good to know. I did not know that. Thank you, Michael. Once again, your knowledge and expertise in this realm was very helpful. I thank you. I thought that it could be, but I didn't want to make that statement, and now you have made that far better. Okay, so that is a lot of equipment. Putting on a rail system so trucks can drive on the railway would significantly increase the gross weight of that vehicle, and you'd likely want to change the vehicle's rating. The issue is that if you don't and you're pulled over, you may be found and weighed, because we have our vehicle or commercial motor vehicle people. They will weigh your vehicle, and if you are overweight, you will be off. You'll be charged, and you'll be out of service. Let's see here. Really long nickname. Let's see what you got to say here. There are distance markers every 2 kilometers an hour. Every 2 kilometers along Highway 17. However, not all regions in Ontario have them. Why or why not? I don't know. I don't know why one region would choose not to and others would. That's the worst answer. I just don't know. Okay. Tharson Pala. If I go 14 over the posted limit, do I get demerit points? No. Demerit points only come into play at 16 kilometers over the posted limit. But I got to tell you this one little thing. People think that means that it won't impact your insurance. Demerit points have nothing to do with insurance. Demerit points are for the ministry to track whether or not you need to get a letter saying, pay attention, start driving better. It also allows them to track you for suspension, because at a certain point, you're going to get suspended for demerit points. But if you got one ticket for 14 over, chances are your insurance wouldn't be impacted, and there's no demerit points, so they wouldn't track you. That said, if you had 3 tickets or 2 tickets or 5 tickets, all 14 over, your insurance is probably going up. So just be aware that those are considered minors, and a multitude of minors become majors, or at least influence a change in your insurance rating. Chicky and Ricky. If I have my phone on my windshield and there is video playing, is it illegal? Yeah, it's illegal. Phone playing movies, screen visible to drive. Even if it's not a phone, even if it's just an iPod, if anyone still has iPods, non-phone entertainment devices, you cannot have a screen visible to the driver. So if it's on your windshield and you're playing a video, you're absolutely getting a distracted driving charge, $615, it's a 3-day and 3 demerit point situation on conviction. Yeah, not good. And there's no excuse in the world why you would need to have that. Oh, so Ian wants to know, if a person has a baseball bat in their backseat, can they be charged with possessing a dangerous weapon, or is it just sports equipment? It really depends on why you're carrying it and the conversation that ensues. If you've got your bat, ball, gloves, everything there because you got your baseball uniform, you're going to the baseball game, that's pretty reasonable. If you're carrying your baseball bat or transporting it to, well, you're talking about in a car, but for my purposes of my example, you're going to wander around the county fair with it. That's telling. That might turn into a weapons dangerous charge. It really depends on what your intention is. A pencil is a pencil until it's used as a weapon. A knife is cutlery until it's used or described as a weapon. Like it all depends. But I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Kabir wants to know, I just got my G2 and I'm not a teenager. Do I still need a full G to drive on the 400 series highways? No, your G2 allows you to drive anywhere, regardless of your age. If you have achieved G2 status, You are only required to not have more than one person under the age of 20 in the first 6 months between the hours of midnight and 5 a.m. And in the second 6 months of having a G2, you are limited to no more than 3 persons under the age of 20 in the second 6 months. And of course, 0 blood alcohol content until you're over the age of 22 or 22 years or over. Over the age of 21, being 22. What else? Actually, as a G2, you cannot have, you have to be a G and 22 or older to have more than BAC of 0. Blood alcohol content must be 0 as a G2, regardless of your age. There you go. Hope that answers your question. Almost got all tripped up with my ages and G2s and your B2s. Yeah. Mullencat says, okay. I'm the one for assaulted through the window. I ring the police. They told me I have no evidence because no dash camera. I have 911 call. I have everything that happened to me in my notes. What you can still file a report saying that you have, if you can describe the person, if the type of car and the information, you don't need a dash camera to file a report. They may not find the person, but you should absolutely make a report. I can't imagine why police would turn you away from that. The 911 call, did you go to the police station? Tell them you want to file a report. They should take your report. I can't imagine why they wouldn't. Yeah. Chase says, a vehicle fled from police and they show up later at the registered owner's address. What would happen if they said they were home the whole time and didn't know who was driving? I couldn't speculate. Depends on what kind of information we're going to build our case and based on that case, take steps going forward. Ghosty wants to know, windshield stickers legal or illegal? Depends on the sticker, depends on the placement, depends on, does it obstruct? Is it outside the field of view? It depends. Generally speaking, windshield stickers are a bad idea, but if it's outside of the scope or the area that is touched by the windshield wiper, you might be okay. Like when you get that little sticker on your windshield telling you when to renew or when to change your oil, that's not a big problem for us. If you've got something that is truly blocking the driver view, it is a problem. And technically speaking, you can't even tint your front windshield. So putting an opaque sticker on it, really bad idea. And probably very unsafe. Let's see here. Wait, you said an officer has to be qualified to operate speed enforcement equipment? So if a non-traffic officer was in a vehicle with a dash-mounted radar, they could not lay charge. Right. We have to, so I'll give you an example. When I was an officer in 12th Division, we had a traffic car. I had not received at the time, I had not received my training to operate that particular device. I could not lay a charge using it because I was not qualified. I was qualified for a handheld laser. That was it. And I think everybody at the college, I think I got qualified at the college. I think everyone's qualified to use the laser, but the B3 or the moving radar system required a special course. So while everyone is probably good to go for the handheld, not everybody can use the mounted unit. Mounted unit's actually horses, separate unit. Sophie, besides the traffic services, what other positions are there in the TPS? Well, thank you for asking, because that gives me a perfect segue as we hit the 11 o'clock mark to talk about employment. Also, just to let you know, in 1 minute, no further questions will be taken. I'll try and get through all the questions that are in queue waiting, but that's going to be our hour. It'll probably be 10 to 15 minutes till I can get through the backlog of questions, but no new questions after 11. So, let's talk about this question for Sophie. What other positions? Well, if you look here on our tps.ca/careers website, you can see that we're hiring police constables. I don't think we currently have openings, but we do have special constables, parking enforcement officers, communications operators, and we're going to see in a second what civilian roles are currently available. We have people in IT and administrative roles, all sorts of great things. Special constable has 3 main categories. I started as a special constable. Well, actually, I started as an auxiliary officer, a volunteer in the youth program here. It's lighting up. Volunteer youth programs. Auxiliary is a fantastic way to contribute to your community. I did that, had so much fun. Later the same year, I became a special constable, but the rank was called court officer then. Special constable was my designation. I had increased powers of arrest while I was working, but my role was specific to courthouse security and prisoner transportation. Special constables now do that, but also have divisional roles where they could be helping police with taking statements, directing traffic, doing all sorts of things. they can also be involved with the booker role, where they handle prisoners at police stations. So there's multiple roles within that expanding rank of special constable. Parking enforcement officer is just that. They do ticketing for people who choose to place their vehicles places they shouldn't, and ultimately, parking enforcement officers help keep the city moving. They're awesome. And it's a great opportunity to work outside. Sometimes that outside is cold, sometimes it is hot, but you do have that variety, and I think it's an amazing opportunity. When I was a special constable in courts, I actually applied for parking enforcement because I wanted to go out and ride a motorcycle and be outside. I was tired of being in a courthouse, and I ended up not leaving, but it's something I thought about. Civilian roles. Ooh, five positions? Did I count that? Yeah, 5 jobs. So we have an infrastructure solutions specialist. Infrastructure engineer. I have no idea what that is. But if you click on this, you will find out. Manager in employee services. I also have no idea what that is. Payroll. Yeah, don't know what that is. I mean, I assume it's related to payroll. Law clerk and legal services. Senior programmer. And of course, communications operator. And yeah, you can see that on screen. That is someone who takes the phone calls, dispatches police officers. They are the people that deal directly with both police officers and the community to make sure that they can send help to where it's needed most. So amazing human beings. If you want an opportunity to join our amazing service, and I say that not just to be salesy about it, I really do believe we have the most fantastic police service on the planet. We are the second largest police service in Canada. We are the largest municipal police service in Canada. We do amazing work every single day, keeping our communities safe. And you can come serve your community by joining us. It's not a place to hang out for a weekend. It's a place to have a career, and a good one at that. So tps.ca/careers. Okay. Moving down. Oh, and sorry, Sophie, if you were asking about other positions within traffic services, we have divisional policing units. So we have divisions throughout the city. They respond to all sorts of calls. Traffic services is a citywide traffic unit focused on Highway Traffic Act, offenses, collision investigation, collision reconstruction, and we have a motor squad that also does VIP escorts. But amongst other things, what we do outside of traffic services is policing. And we're all cops at traffic services, but which means we could be doing anything, but we specialize in traffic, and I'm very fortunate to be here. I quite like what I do. But we also have a mounted unit, a canine unit, an emergency task force, teams that goes into high risk situations. What else do we have? We have a marine unit. We have a lot of different police units. Okay, Adam Gray has a question. If backing into my driveway, do people have to wait, or can they go around crossing over yellow? They can go around crossing over yellow if it's safe to do so. There's no law in the province of Ontario that prevents people from crossing a line. They're just responsible for what happens if they cross the line and they shouldn't have. Don't cross the line. They don't have to wait, but they probably should based on safety. What happens when you get a parking ticket by the city and the license plate is wrong by a letter? They take pictures now. So it's unlikely, although typos happen, and they can choose to apply to have it amended if need be, or it could be dismissed. I really don't know how they handle that. But we've had situations with traffic court where an officer has made an error, and if the rest of the evidence supports the correction, they may be able to correct it. But they do take pictures with parking. Jordan Mitchell, U-turn at lighted intersection, yes or no? If the light is green and it's safe to do so, and there's no sign prohibiting it, and it could be then legal to do. But there are a number of places where you can't do a U-turn regardless of what is going on, and those are or places like curves where there's no visibility, elevations where there's no visibility, railway tracks. When we have bridges, viaducts, or tunnels. Those places you can never do a U-turn. But an intersection that doesn't have a sign preventing it or prohibiting it, and the light is green, and you are able to do it and complete it safely, then you would be able to. What stops me from not telling an insurance company about a ticket? You don't have to tell them anything. They look it up themselves. They can see your tickets. They can pull up your license history and see the most current 3 years of convictions. What is this? Not useful has a question, but interesting to what extent are big flags on trucks legal? They can't. They have to be secured securely, and they cannot obstruct the view of your ability to drive safely, and also other vehicles. I mean, it can't be flopping around and hitting other vehicles. Like an enormous flag would be silly and unsafe, and we've seen it on TikTok and the like. Just another one says, no screen visible to driver. What about GPS directions? That's a follow-up one. So we're talking about having a phone mounted to the front. Can you have the screen visible in GPS mode? Yes, but you can't touch the screen. You can't change the destination. So if you have a mounted phone in GPS mode, it is legal. It doesn't qualify for visible screen visible to driver. But the earlier question of the show was whether or not something playing a movie would be legal. And of course, that would not be. Tickle. Okay. Intent is the biggest factor when you have a bat or a knife. Okay, that's a comment. Happened in Montreal. A guy was arrested for having a bat glove and cap in the back seat. Listen, if you're pulled over and you say, "Why do I have the bat in the back seat?" and you say it's because I'm planning on beating somebody with it, yeah, I can see you getting arrested. If you had a bat in the back seat and you said, "I'm on my way to the baseball game," I think that would be an interesting or difficult time getting a conviction there. Personal opinion, of course. Can I use a tool in my truck to defend myself from someone attacking me in my car? Excuse me. The deal is that weapons of opportunity are just that. If you were to grab the pencil in your glove box and defend yourself with it, you didn't plan on using it as a defense tool, but you're being attacked and you're trying to prevent yourself from being killed or seriously hurt or hurt at all. We'll just say assaulted. Is it reasonable to use whatever's in your means to protect yourself? Yeah. You could get arrested. You could get charged, but that's part of your defense. Apparently, I really have to stop talking because my throat is starting to really bother me. Let's see here. It's 11 o'clock. No, it's 11:08. Rodney Dangerfield joke. Michael is providing dad. Oh, we do dad jokes, yeah. Let's see here. All right. Let's get into some dad jokes because then I got to go. Rodney Dangerfield joke. My wife is a cold person. Her side of the waterbed is frozen. My goodness. A little late, but better late than never. Dad joke. Someone stole my favorite cup of coffee. Let's put it in big screen. Someone stole my favorite coffee cup right off my desk at work. Now I have to go down to the police station and look at some mug shots. Every time that Zombie has a somebody stole my stuff joke, I know it's going to be good. Let's see here. Kayla says, don't have a great day. No, don't have a good day. Have a great day. It makes sense. He's got to take off. Okay. Ian's a former police officer and says, when I did the highway patrol back in the day, I got tired of being spit on, having drink and food thrown at me. Not pleasant. It's funny how people don't like the police telling them what to do. I think we said this one. I wasn't here on Friday. What is an astronaut's favorite snack food? Rocket chips. Rocket chips. Yeah, it's better in my mind. What music do mummies love to listen to? Rap music. I'm a perfectionist and I refuse to swim in any ocean except one in particular, the Pacific. I'm a perfectionist and I refuse to swim in the ocean except for one in particular. I don't even get it. I don't get it. Maybe I'll get it tomorrow, but I don't get it today. Okay, Monday's joke. So I was thinking we should take our vacation this year traveling in Rhode Island. Why, Dad? It's such a small state, but I hear it has the most streets. Rhode Island, the most. That's like terrible. That is an absolutely terrible joke. Into the garbage pail it goes. Okay. Okay. According to the Criminal Code of Canada, there's no self-defense in Canada, which is a shame. There is What do you mean there's no? You're allowed to use as much force as necessary to defend yourself. What do you mean there's no self-defense? We'll have to talk offline. But you're absolutely permitted to defend yourself. Now, there's no ability to carry a firearm because we don't issue people licenses for that. But there is definitely laws surrounding self-defense. Yes. And arrest, civilian arrest, and things like that. All right. I will see you tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. No show on Wednesday because we will be off-site for other stuff and things related to what's behind me. And Thursday, no show, but I should be back for Friday. I expect it. So, but tomorrow anyway. Just getting you ready for what's things to come. In any case, we are going to say goodbye for today. I hope you have a wonderful day. I got to go edit a video. Lots of stuff coming. I'll talk to you soon.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed, and watch your driving. Don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
That's it. That's all, folks. Or is it a